Hey, what's going on everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back today with another daily crypto update. Today we're going to go over our normal schedule and a more detailed technical analysis on TradingView in just a second. And we're going to get started with the general market update. We also have some news pieces to cover. But as you can see, we are pretty mixed right now. We experienced a little bit of a pullback on certain cryptocurrencies. Some are actually doing pretty good. Icon is actually a big mover today, and that's because, as you can see over here, it got listed on Bitsum, which was a major exchange, and that actually, pushed prices massively higher. So great to see Icon recovering, and hopefully, while in the short term it may experience a bit of a pullback, I think overall it's a great thing that it's added on a big exchange like that. And like I said, overall pretty mixed here today on the general market. We're going to go ahead and talk also about the fact that Twitter's CEO Jack Dorsey said that Bitcoin will become the world's single currency within a decade. And that's just very interesting to think about, right? Because if Bitcoin even starts to move in that direction and makes progress in that direction, then that's pretty massive as far as how big it'll be. So of course time will tell, but I think that there's a definite possibility that we move at least towards that direction, right, of it being, a major global currency, which some might argue that it already is. Now, don't forget to check out my Twitter for live cryptocurrency market updates. Also, make sure to check out my premium content for monthly cryptocurrency buying opportunities. I'll have a link to both those things in the description of this video. And we're going to get started on the Bitcoin technical analysis. Now, we are advancing positively. We are facing a lot of resistance, however, at $9,000, and we can see that we have a little bit of a doji candlestick right now in the making. We're also coming up on our crossover on the MACD and histogram. And in my previous video, a lot of people misunderstood me by thinking that I was spreading FUD, and all that I was saying was really that we were just coming up on some resistance, and that there was a pretty high likelihood that we were going to see a bit of a pullback before we end up, breaking out of our downtrend or something like that. Because if we take a look right now, really we're still in our symmetrical triangle formation, and even more so we're in this range between $8,000 and $9,000. And I think we're going to trade in that range a little bit longer until we reach closer to the end of the formation, at which point we'll either break towards the upside or downside. And that's what's truly going to set the trend for Bitcoin and most likely for other cryptocurrencies out there. Now let's go over Ethereum and see what it's been doing. So we are coming up on our blue downtrend line over here. We can see this longer upper wick means that buyers weren't able to sustain those higher prices just yet. So we're definitely facing some resistance there. We are coming back above our 30 line on the RSI, so that's good to see. Still want to see the MACD and histogram come up a bit more. Overall, I think that we could go up to $625, $630, but I think that we're going to consolidate between $630 and $500 until we reach the end of our little triangle here, at which point we could break out of the uptrend to then move higher. But definitely think we're going to have to put in some consolidation here first, especially seeing how the indicators still need a little bit more time to come back up. But let's go ahead and take a look at Litecoin, and we're going to see what it's been up to. So Litecoin made its way back above $165. Of course, a lot of resistance at around $170, $175. We still want to get back into the positive area as far as the MACD and histogram is concerned. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye for that positive crossover. But the RSI did break out of its downtrend line. That is a good sign, of course. And really, I'd say at this point, I think that we're probably going to see some consolidation between 165 and maybe a little bit higher towards $190. We can see that we still need some time based on the Bollinger Bands and the middle band that are starting to flatten out. So we're going to still have to put in some consolidation most likely. And at worst, I think that we may come back a little bit, test the uptrend line, but we should be able to hold our ground pretty well here and consolidate, maybe move slightly higher. Let's go towards our next cryptocurrency, which is going to be Nano, and it's actually acting very interestingly right now. It is back under 100,000 Satoshis, which isn't the best sign, but what is good is that we now put in a pretty clear support level below 100,000 Satoshis, and that's at 93,000 Satoshis. So we're in this range between those two levels right now. Probably going to see a little bit more consolidation in this area a little bit longer, but really we're in this bigger range between 93,000 and our downtrend line, really. So, I mean, we can see if we extend this how far we can go, but we're going to have to put in probably a little bit more consolidation, wait for the market to really be strong enough to get a pretty serious push, and then hopefully Nano can really thrive, right? And we know it's capable of doing so like we've seen in the past. So let's go over towards Ripple now and take a look at what it's been doing. We can see that we're in this range between 65 cents and 84 cents. Indicator is pretty flat right now, especially the MACD and histogram, and we can see that the Bollinger Bands and the middle band are starting to flatten out, pretty contracted towards the price right now, which means that very likely that we're just going to see some consolidation in the 65 cent to 84 cent range, a little bit longer here, just to put in a base, and then once again it's going to be waiting on potentially Bitcoin to get that breakout and for the rest of the market to follow through with that. Now let's go over NEO and take a look at what NEO has been up to. Let's go over to Bittrex here, and as you can see, we did break out of our downtrend line, which is very good, and that will really allow us to, at the very least, put in a base without too much downside pressure and really get some nice consolidation. And so that is a good thing. We can also see that the indicators are coming back up pretty nicely. Nice little spike on the MACD, histogram, and RSI. Still want to see the crossovers on the MACD and histogram. Now, we are facing a lot of resistance at that $75 mark, and could that continue? Definitely. We may enter the range between $75 and $85. Our middle band is still downtrending pretty severely, so we want to make sure that that starts to flatten out. And what that tells me is it's kind of tricky as of right now to know where we're going to put in some consolidation, but I think we definitely are going to put in a little bit more consolidation here over the next week or two. And for what range we could be in, it really depends, right? I'd say, just to give a wider idea, probably somewhere between $60 and $85 would be the most likely scenario here for some consolidation. Now let's go over Stellar and take a look at what it's been doing. So Stellar experienced a lot of resistance at this 3,000 Satoshi level. That was spotted first with this longer upper wick on the previous candlestick, and now got a pretty big red candlestick that followed that. So we can see that we still are downtrending as far as the middle band is concerned, and as for the indicators, they are definitely flattening out but not really taking off that much. So we're in a little bit of a tricky position because there's just so much resistance at $3,000. I'm not sure if we're going to get back above that just yet. I think that based on the fact that the middle band is starting to break through that as well, we're probably going to consolidate somewhere between 2,600 and 3,000 Satoshis, which isn't the end of the world at all, and like a lot of these other cryptocurrencies, probably going to need some more consolidation here. So as long as we're not dropping like we have been for the past couple weeks, consolidation is actually a pretty good thing, and it's just healthy for the market overall usually. Now let's go over our next crypto, which is, let's see, got to think of my list here. That's going to be Vertcoin, and let's see what's going on. So Vertcoin came up on its downtrend line, wasn't able to break above that. Longer upper wick, inverse hammer candlestick, so that's actually a pretty bearish candlestick. And we can see the attempted crossover on the MACD histogram. I think we may experience a rejection here based on this candlestick, and we're probably going to fall back a bit lower, maybe towards $1.85 or even lower towards $1.54. I don't think we're going to be moving below that. What I mean to say here is that we're probably going to come towards the end of this triangle formation, and then we're either going to break out of the downtrend line or to the downside if the market, gets a major hit, basically. Now let's go over our next crypto, which is going to be Lisk. Pretty interesting situation actually for Lisk. It got its positive crossover on the MACD and histogram, and its RSI is starting to uptrend again now. It does still have some resistance to deal with, right? We have a bunch of resistance levels based on previous consolidations and whatnot. But mainly here in the short term, we have a lot of resistance at $15. We also have our middle band that's acting as resistance. Still downtrending there. Bollinger Band still downtrending a little bit. But what we see here is the lower Bollinger Band is telling us that we're going to see some contraction here. And what that means is consolidation, right? For now, it seems pretty clear to me that we're going to consolidate between $12.15 and $15. Going to need to put in some consolidation in this range until we're ready to move back up. And it's tricky for Lisk because it's hard to tell when we're going to be able to break out of the downtrend. The end of our little triangle formation is all the way here, right? So that's quite a bit further than other cryptocurrencies. And for now, we don't know really what that might mean if we're really going to go towards the end of the formation. But at the very least here, probably going to need to put in some consolidation between $12.15 and $15. And from there, it becomes pretty clear, right? If we break below $12.15, that's obviously very bearish. And if we're able to start moving above $15, that's going to be a bullish sign, right? Now, let's go over Cardano and take a look at what's going on. So, actually looking pretty good here. Yet another green candlestick. We do have decreasing buying volume, though. Nice boost on the RSI back above the 40 line. Slight uptrend beginning on the MACD and histogram. And maybe even the middle band that's starting to kick back up a little bit. We are very contracted towards the price as far as the Bollinger Bands are concerned, so I still think we're going to see some consolidation here between 2,000 and 2,500 Satoshis. But it looks like, as for the indicators and as for the price in general, we are out of our downtrends, so we're just going to probably have to put in a bit of consolidation before getting our move higher, basically. Let's take a look at our last cryptocurrency of the daily crypto update. That is going to be IOTA. And IOTA came up on its resistance here at $1.47. That's where it started pulling back. Like I said, we're in this bigger range between $1.10 and $1.91. It's looking like, based on the Bollinger Bands contracting towards the price now, we're probably going to get some tighter consolidation between $1.10 and $1.47, like a lot of these other cryptocurrencies, until we're ready to see our next move higher. With that being said, this is the end of the daily crypto update. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my premium content and my Twitter. Link to those in the description. I'll see you next time.